People scared me so much. They were like, oh, marriage. What? Tara, you don't want to give us children. Are you feeling some type of way about turning 30? Or have you recently turned 30 and you feel like you should be further along than you actually are? I completely understand how you feel. I'm turning 30 in a few days. I was freaking out, no longer freaking out, but I had a few lessons that I wanted to share that I have learned in the course of the 29 years I've been on this earth that I think will be absolutely valuable in this season of your life. Okay, so the first thing I'm about to say, I actually just want to get it out of the way because I know a lot of people will be like, why did she say that? But I have to say this. It's perfectly fine to not want children or marriage or the traditional things that everybody else wants. And I know some people are going to be watching this and like, oh, how could you say that? But it's so true. I don't think those things are for everybody. And I think what's more important is leaning into your purpose and why God has called you. Don't feel the pressure to, want children. Side note, I do want children. I'm just saying, if that is you, I feel like it's perfectly fine because I was at a stage in my life where I wasn't desiring of it. I'm sure some people in my family are watching this and like, what? Tara, you don't want to give us children. But anyway, I just really think that you should lean into what makes you you and what God has called you to be and do, and don't feel the pressure to be anything else because that's where your true happiness is, Let's move on to the next point. So I'm going to be looking at my notes in case you see me looking down. So the second thing I wrote down, because this girl forgets stuff, is that discipline actually unlocks the life that you want. Honestly, for someone like me, I really had to learn this, especially when I moved here and I was juggling a full-time job with content creation, blogging, and also on YouTube. That discipline, I had to be disciplined. I had to account for the time in my day. Discipline is so important. You know what I feel like discipline is? Discipline is like doing the exact opposite of what your body wants you to do. Like, I want to sleep, but I know I have this responsibility. And don't get me wrong, rest is so important and I'm still going to get to that. But I feel like doing the exact opposite, forcing yourself to do the exact opposite of what your body wants to do is what I refer to as discipline. And it's the hardest thing to do. That simple thing, being disciplined day in, day out, being consistent with that discipline will unlock the life that you want. This is a key lesson that I have learned, especially in my, later 20s. Honestly, discipline is it. Now, this moves me on to my next point, which is that rest is just as important as work. Like, rest is so key in this world that is powered by coffee. This coffee power generation, people don't place as much emphasis on rest. And I said this on purpose right after talking about discipline because a lot of people don't rest enough. And I used to be like that. And, I just had to learn the hard way because there was one time that I literally crashed. And I just had to learn the hard way that rest is just as important. Rest is good for your mind, it's good for your body. It's just great. So as much as you schedule stuff in your calendar and schedule, work and wanting to get that side hustle going on, you also have to make time to rest. It is critical and it will help you perform optimally in everything else that you want to do. Another big lesson that I have learned this, season of my life is that people will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. People will never forget. Like, how you make people feel is so important. And this is one of the lessons that I actually learned directly from my husband. There's a big difference in saying to somebody, you're so stupid, and also saying to somebody, you know what, that decision you made wasn't so wise. One is made to break that person's spirit. The second is made to mend and correct. There's just a big difference. And we have to be conscious about the energy that we're putting out into the world. It's so important. I used to pride myself in being so straight talking, like I don't take any BS. But the truth is, your character is defined by how you treat people. Like, it's so important to ask yourself, how will this person feel if I said this? You know, how can I say it in a way that still passes my message, but is said in the kindest way? And honestly, marriage has been the biggest reminder of this lesson. My husband specifically, because he's always very careful how he speaks to people. And, you know, it's just such a crucial lesson for life. And, you know, I'm still learning, and, you know, it's just something I had to mention as one of the points that I've learned in my 29 plus years. Communication challenges. There are times that, you know, different things happen, but it is the most beautiful thing. Like, if you asked me, like, would you want to be, I want to be married 10 times over, because I love doing life with my husband. You know, having that companion who loves you and is there for you is the most beautiful thing. So please, I'm giving you full permission. If you're not married yet, you know, and you feel like a lot of people are scaring you, and, you know, you're hearing so many bad stories, I'm here to tell you that, you know, while it's not the most perfect thing in the world without hitches or, you know, it is absolutely, stinkingly, I'm looking for more adjectives, beautiful, honestly. So please don't be scared of marriage. That is if you want to be married. You know, not everybody wants to, and that is perfectly fine. Oh, I have to mention this, and it's talking about trusting in God more than in your own abilities. If you're a Christian, you know, you understand what I'm talking about. Like, trusting God more than your abilities. You know, stopping yourself from saying, oh yeah, because of my hard work. Don't get me wrong, I work hard. I work very hard. But just relying on that hard work and not the one who made you. It's so, you know, it almost sounds silly to trust this unseen God, but that's where your faith comes into play. Like, trusting God more than your own ability. I'll share you a personal testimony with you. Last year, I was pitching. I pitched my heart out because obviously I wanted to get more freelance work done. I pitched my heart out. A lot of those pitches didn't come to fruition. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do my bit and I'm going to trust God. Sis, he blew my mind. Like, my mind was so blown. I was like, oh my God, I need to trust God more, because he will meet you where you are. Like, trust in the God that says that the cattle on 1,000 hills are his, and you are a joint heir with Christ. Like, I know not everybody watching this is a Christian, and I completely understand. I can only speak from my perspective as a Christian. But trusting God, love you, Lord, love you. Honestly, it's the best thing ever. The last point, which is the 7th point I want to talk about that I have learned, is, oh my God, I just forgot the point. What's my notes say? Okay. Comparison is the biggest thief of your joy. It will steal your joy when you compare yourself to other people. Now that we have everybody's life like hitting us in the face on Instagram stories, on YouTube, we're sucked into people's lives. It's so easy for us to want to compare and be like, oh, my husband doesn't do that, or my child doesn't do that, or, you know, there's just so many things we can compare ourselves to, but it's the quickest way to rid yourself of a joyful, happy life. That's the truth. Like, comparison will steal your joy. A degree at 29 and one at 18, they're still degrees. A child at 35 and one at, 18, they're still both children. Like, we all have our different seasons, and it's important that we lean into those seasons. I'm telling you guys this as much as I'm telling myself. Don't compare yourself with anybody. Stay in your journey, stay in your lane, learn from other people, take inspiration from their life, and use it to build the most fantastic life that is for you and no one else. So, to end this, I'm just going to say we all operate in different seasons. There's going to be bountiful seasons. There's going to be seasons for planting. There's going to be seasons for sowing. There's so many seasons in a person's life. Your life has different seasons. Lean into those seasons and understand who you are. That is the biggest lesson. I'm like, knowing who I am and what I stand for and what my values are has changed my life. So lean into your seasons, lean into your purpose, stay in your lane. And honestly, you're going to have such a fantastic life. And you're not going to think, oh my God, I'm turning 30 or I'm 30, I haven't achieved this or that. Make plans to change the things you don't want. I promise you, if you even take one of these points or these tips to heart, you're going to experience bliss, happiness, a sense of purpose. I love you guys. I really do. And I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.